Did you know that there have been more than 50 false incriminations due to DNA testing in the past 50 years of crimes? Most people would assume that DNA testing is 100% accurate, but that is not always the case. I'm here to tell you about some of the ways that investigators actually collect evidence from crime scenes nowadays. Knowing what investigators are going to use against you from the crime scene can greatly improve your defense if you ever find yourself in a sticky situation. Some of the most important forms of evidence are not the ones that would always come to the average person's mind at first. Taking a deeper look into what exactly can be gathered from a crime scene was actually very startling to me, and I hope it will be for you too. I will be discussing three major categories of evidence: biological, Latin, and digital. Biological evidence includes blood, bodily fluids, hair, and other tissues. Latin includes fingerprints, palm prints, and footprints that we leave on objects. Digital evidence includes cell phone records, internet logs, and email messages that are sent between people. According to an article from ForensicScienceSimplified.org, investigators can draw conclusions from a blood stain's patterns, transfers, voids, and any other marks it leaves behind at a crime scene. Experts use processes called bloodstain pattern analysis to recreate a crime scene. This process contains biology, physics, mathematics, and a couple other things to give a detailed picture of what actually occurred at the crime. Once the evidence is collected, it is then sent to a laboratory for DNA analysis. DNA has become so important in crimes recently that often courts demand to see it at a crime scene, even if there is other compelling evidence present at the scene. Moving on to Latin evidence, it involves the type of things investigators would not be able to spot without some form of scientific help or tool. According to an article by forensic scientist manager Karen Morrow, evidence collectors can use up to 40 methods to piece together fingerprints, palm prints, or footprints. Fingerprints are so reliable nowadays at crime scenes because no two people have the same exact fingerprint. Even identical twins have similar DNA but have very distinct fingerprints. Analysts can use chemical, physical, photography, and electronic assistance to match a suspect's prints to the ones at a crime scene. And the last form of evidence is digital evidence. This is the newest form of evidence that is being used in crime scene investigations today. According to an article from TechBeat News Magazine, digital evidence is one of the most common ways investigators confirm premeditation of a crime. Recovering important messages, pictures, and internet history can be crucial to the conviction of a wide variety of crimes. With the proper warrant, authorities have the power to confiscate computers, laptops, cell phones, cameras, and any other device that is capable of holding data. Digital evidence can be used to help build or destroy the credibility of a witness in a case. When approaching any form of digital evidence, officers are often asked to photograph devices before anyone touches them. This allows investigators to recognize if anyone messed with the wires, buttons, or switches after the evidence was removed from the crime scene. Recovering this kind of evidence needs to be done as soon as possible. Info can be transferred, damaged, or erased easily when it is not actually physical. On the other hand, it is not always easy to get rid of this evidence. Even after you delete something, skilled investigators can sometimes retrieve data that many would assume is lost. So, in conclusion, there are all kinds of unthinkable ways authorities collect evidence, whether it be the biological evidence our bodies leave behind, Latin evidence that our extremities imprint on objects, or digital evidence that our devices send to the internet. Investigators will find a way to place you at the scene. It may not always be easy to stay out of trouble, but at least you'll have an idea of what the police are going to use against you if you get caught.